A sharpened rock. A nuclear bomb. Guess how long between them? 100,000 years of almost nothing. Then a single, terrifying century. Why did everything change so fast? Stick around. Welcome to Curious Monkey.
Here's what we tell ourselves. Weapons improved step by step, smoothly, generation after generation. A little sharper, a little deadlier. A tidy climbing line. It feels obviously true, but that story has a crack in it, and the crack is enormous.
The sharpened rock. For most of human history, this was the cutting edge, literally.
Picture a hand wrapping around a stone, chipped to a wicked point. But here's the twist. For the classic Maya, those spear and arrow points weren't just for killing. Elites crafted them as art, as status, as identity. A weapon was also a flex.
Then came metal. Iron smelting is usually traced to the Hittites of Anatolia, around 1400 BC. But here's the strange part. Archaeologists found iron objects in Turkey as old as 2300 BC, nearly 1,000 years early. Someone somewhere was already ahead of the curve.
Iron changes everything. Because suddenly, the deadliest material on Earth was lying everywhere.
Bronze had a problem. It needed copper and tin, rare, controlled, and far apart. Empires could literally monopolize war. Then iron arrived in Europe after 1000 BC, and the rules flipped. Iron ore showed up in countless forms, in countless places. Cheap. Abundant. Suddenly, an ordinary village could arm itself.
Imagine what that does to power, when the deadliest edge stops belonging only to kings.
By the Middle Ages, one figure ruled the battlefield, the armored knight. His edge wasn't courage. It was metallurgy and training, so specialized he became a one-man tank. And here's a detail that should stop you cold. When scientists analyzed medieval battle axes, the steel matched modern 1045 steel. The same stuff we still forge today.
8 centuries ago, smiths had quietly cracked it.
The powder that burned, because the next leap didn't come from a blacksmith, it came from an accident.
Gunpowder was, legend says, an accident. Alchemists hunting for immortality found a powder that exploded. Watch it travel. In late medieval times, Europe and China took the same powder down completely different roads. It reached the Mamluks, carrying guns into the Islamic world.
And in India, between 1500 and 1605, Babur and Akbar built an entire military revolution on it. One that mirrored Europe's, half a world away, almost in step. As if the whole planet felt the same shock at once.
And the early guns were clumsy, loud, and oddly local. The first firearms in Scotland, fired by the English back in 1327. By 1455, they'd hauled a monster called Mons Meg to batter the walls of Thrive, a cannon so huge it became a legend of stone-cracking power.
Castles themselves had to change shape. By around 1540, builders were carving special gun holes into the walls. The architecture of fear, redesigned around a weapon.
But the deepest change wasn't on the battlefield. It was in the government. Cannon were brutally expensive. To afford them, rulers needed money, armies of clerks, taxes, organization. Slowly, the gunpowder weapon helped forge the early modern state itself. Think about that.
The chemical reaction didn't just knock down castle walls. It reshaped how humans organize, tax, and obey. The gun rewired civilization from the inside. And we were still, somehow, only at the beginning of the curve. The real explosion hadn't come yet.
The century that broke the curve. For 100,000 years, change crawled. Now, hold your breath,
And here's something they don't put in the movies. When World War II began, Britain had an army of just 5 under-equipped infantry divisions, not even enough tanks to field a single armored division. And the supposedly modern war machine, it still ran heavily on horses and mules. Animal muscle in the age of engines.
Even bombing cities from the sky wasn't new. Aerial warfare against civilians reaches back to 1911, before the First World War. The future and the Stone Age, fighting the same war, side by side.
Now the strangeness really begins. For about 50 years, the tank was the king of land war. Roll up, shrug off bullets, win. Then someone discovered something almost magical. Shape the explosive just right, hollow it out, and the blast itself burns a jet straight through the thickest armor on Earth.
No need for a screaming high-speed shell, just geometry. That shaped charge, born in World War II, quietly began the tank's downfall. Imagine the engineers realizing it. The mightiest machine on the battlefield, undone not by a bigger gun, but by a cleverer shape.
And while bombs were getting smarter, something else was being born, quietly, in American air power during the war. The very first ancestors of precision-guided weapons. Bombs that didn't just fall, they were aimed, guided, steered toward a target. Think about the leap hiding in that idea. For 100,000 years, you threw a rock and hoped.
Now a weapon could chase its prey. After the war from 1945 into the late 50s, the United States poured itself into long-range guided missiles. The weapon was learning to think for itself, and it was only getting started.
Splitting the atom. This is the moment the curve stops climbing and goes vertical.
It started with a letter and a president's decision. Franklin Roosevelt set in motion the effort that became the Manhattan Project, the race to build the first atomic bombs. And then, over Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nuclear weapons were used in war for the very first time. 2 cities, 2 flashes brighter than the sun.
In that instant, the slow climb of 100,000 years simply ended. But humanity wasn't done. The Soviets detonated the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever set off on this planet. From a sharpened rock to a man-made sun in a single human lifetime. Sit with that for a second.
And then the 2 terrors merged. Buried in a once-secret Army index card from March 1950 is a chilling plan. Guided missiles, armed with atomic warheads. The smart weapon and the city killer fused into one. From there, the dominoes kept falling. Anti-tank guided missiles humbled the tank for good, and warfare became a contest of precision and electronics.
Now we stand at the strangest edge yet. Artificial intelligence can process battlefields faster than any human mind, and machines are inching toward pulling the trigger themselves. Here's the wild, unsettling possibility scientists actually worry about. An AI, misreading a moment, could nudge 2 nuclear powers into a war neither one chose.
The sharpened rock learned to think, and we're not sure we can control what it decides.
So the comfortable myth, slow, steady, gentle progress, was never true. The line was nearly flat for ages, then it screamed upward. If your mind is racing, hit subscribe, and let's stay curious together.